North Sydney Council is committed to providing access for everyone. It also has a legal duty to provide access for people with disabilities. This film is intended to assist council, community and business people to help manage access. It provides information and advice to be considered when planning meetings and events. It's important to realise that everyone has a different perspective on day-to-day living. No one wants to feel isolated. In these times, no one needs to be. Good access is the key for everyone. Your planning will make a difference. Chris and Sarah met recently discussing challenges of attending meetings and events. Sarah works in association with the guide dogs as a speaker and educational lecturer.
Sarah, do you think that people with disabilities need different forms of assistance when attending events?
I think it's really important if you're planning an event to consider the different needs of people who have a disability. I think it can really be the difference between somebody choosing to attend and be part of their community or just choosing to stay at home because it's just too difficult.
Everyone in the community deserves access. Everyone might want to be involved, so make sure they can be. Chris interviewed Annika for another perspective on access. Annika is from North Sydney Community Centre.
Hi Annika, you put on many community events here. How do you achieve good access?
We ensure everyone has access to our events by a number of things. One is the actual physical space, that it's accessible for people with different access requirements. And once people are here, to be able to let them know where they're going, where the toilets are and what the event is going to be.
People holding events have to be aware that everyone has different requirements.
It's important to realise that everybody has different needs and you really can't sort of categorise people together and assume they'll need the same thing.
With good planning, everyone can have access and feel comfortable attending meetings and events.
People feel welcome, which is the most important. Particularly for us here at the Community Centre, we want people to feel welcome and we want to welcome people.
Everyone needs to move about within the community. It's so important that your event or meeting be close to accessible public transport.
Being visually impaired, how do you get to most events?
I've become quite an independent traveller. I am quite comfortable getting on and off public transport, but there's definitely challenges.
North Sydney Council Chambers has accessible transport within 200 metres of the main building and just a 15-minute walk from the train station.
So we've got buses which run along Miller Street and they're very popular, particularly through the daytime.
If you're planning an event or meeting, make sure you consider access with everyone in mind.
If I was coming to an event at the library, how would I get there? Would I be able to find the library if I had a guide dog or if I was travelling with my cane?
Chris also discussed managing access with Greg, who plans meetings and events.
Greg, when you put on a meeting or an event, what do you think is important to consider to achieve good access?
Location, Chris. Definitely location, and that the event is accessible, of course, for all people.
When planning for access, location is very important. North Sydney is very hilly in places. It's worthwhile considering distance and gradients from parking and transport to the venue. If your event is outside, check for footpaths, access and uneven surfaces. Access can be affected by wet weather conditions. The time of the meeting can be crucial for people using public transport. The elderly and people with disabilities are less likely to attend meetings at night.
Certainly a number of people don't like driving at night time, so we do ensure that there is public transport running at those times that we run the events.
Dignified access through a main entrance is very important, especially when using a lift or ramp.
Accessibility of the venue, so it's thoroughly suitable for all people.
I've definitely had the experience where people have said that I can't bring my guide dog into an event. It's just about education, about the legal rights of the guide dog in terms of access.
Offering accessible parking close to the venue makes all the difference.
And there is also some very good level access parking available for people as well.
Accessible parking, a ramp and clear directional signage are essential.
It's really important to realise that people with any type of disability will be out and about in the community moving around.
Having handrails and nosing on steps is very important. It's a fantastic directional guide for everyone.
If I'm attending an event alone, I think the most important thing for me is that the people around me feel comfortable and are just happy to approach me and give me assistance.
Having a lift at your venue allows access for more people.
Communication is very important to let people know where they're going, how to get there, and that's pre the event, whether it's by emails or telephone calls.
Make sure you provide information about your event or meeting in a variety of formats. So remember, you can email information in advance to people with vision impairment, deafness and mobility restrictions.
We are very keen to communicate well, clearly and succinctly with people who are coming along.
If you're using a PowerPoint presentation, be aware not everyone can see it or hear it.
The more verbal things are in presentations, the better it is for me.
Keep your presentation verbal, visual and physically accessible.
What's your favourite piece of technology?
My favourite piece of technology would have to be my iPhone. When the iPhones first came out, I thought, someone who's blind or vision impaired, there's no way they could use an iPhone or a touch phone. And it's absolutely fantastic. So it has inbuilt accessibility options. And what that means for me moving around the community is I can use apps that help me with transport, or certainly the awareness of having websites that are accessible. So I can go onto the council website and check out what events are upcoming and things like that. So technology has been absolutely fantastic.
Everybody needs clear signage. Black on white provides the best contrast. Title lowercase is better than capital letters.
So we make sure we communicate with people by clear signage.
Internationally recognised signage must be displayed and is vital for clear direction.
There's a range of factors that we take into consideration. Obviously there's the venue, that the venue is very accessible for people with a range of disabilities and access requirements, whether it's people in wheelchairs, people who have low vision, even people who are suffering hearing loss as well.
A hearing loop is a device that can assist people with hearing aids to hear. North Sydney has many places with hearing loops that are integrated into public address systems. There's also a mobile hearing loop available from North Sydney Council.
For a lot of people, they're coming into perhaps a new area, they're not familiar with the event or what it has to offer or where to sit or what facilities are available.
The venue should have a clean, unlocked, accessible toilet.
We've got accessible bathrooms, flat surface, it's very easy to navigate around.
Always allow space and clearance for people using wheelchairs, walkers and other mobility aids.
Guide folks to be inclusive in perhaps wheelchairs or whatever disability they may have.
Mobility can be further restricted if furniture cannot be moved.
We are very aware of people having different access requirements.
Seating at events can be uncomfortable and can be improved by using a variety of cushions and chairs.
At events, when it comes to breaking for morning tea or anything like that, it is difficult because everyone else will jump up and head for the food.
Catering is really important for people attending events or meetings. It allows everyone to interact and communicate with each other. To achieve this, it must be accessible for everyone. Ask if people have special diet requirements before the event.
Lots of people do have different dietary requirements, so we'll make sure that there are gluten-free products available. We'll also make sure there's vegetarian products available. We've got a number of kids' activities here at the centre, so we do employ a no-nut policy as well because a number of kids have growing allergies.
A waiter service could be ideal to avoid overcrowding around tables. For people with limited arm movement or vision impairment, plastic or clear glasses or cups can be dangerous. Make sure you plan your catering around access.
If you're not orientated to the room, if someone hasn't come in and actually physically said, look, this is where the tea and coffee is, this is where the food is, that is really, really difficult.
There is no substitute for the personal touch.
I think no amount of signage can take the place of a human being who welcomes you. Doesn't matter who you are, to have a friendly face at the front door to say, hi, come on in, we want you to be here. This is where everything is, this is what the event holds.
People assisting with access, directions, information and catering are the best form of communication you can offer people attending your event.
So people don't have to rely on signage to get the information that they need.
Human signposting is absolutely fantastic. From my perspective, being able to show up at an event and have somebody there waiting to offer assistance. It makes the difference between me arriving and standing there for 15 minutes having no idea if I'm in the right spot or where to go, and then having to ask a member of the public, or just showing up and have someone there saying the event you need to get to is down the hall on the right, or would you like me to take you there? It just really frees up that whole experience and makes it a lot more relaxing.
When you're hosting an event, using a checklist is very important to ensure you have good access. Is there dignified access to the building? Is there clear signage and information? Are hearing loops available? Are refreshments available and accessible to everyone? Have you considered people with special diets? Have you considered a waiter service? Do you have clean, accessible toilets? Is your event near accessible public transport? Is there accessible parking nearby? Have you considered the time of the meeting? Is the location suitable for people attending? Is the floor plan sympathetic for access, seating and exits? Are the emergency exits clear and accessible? Use a checklist and think about your particular event so that you can provide access for everyone.
When you're planning an event, there's a lot to keep in mind when it comes to people with a disability. Keeping in mind that all those needs are really, really different. The main points would be getting the material around the event, having that in an accessible format, and then getting to the event. Can I find the event? And when I get there, is there someone there who can give me assistance if I need it? And possibly the most important is that little bit of orientation to the space. So where's the door? Where are the audience sitting? Where will the performer or the speaker be sitting? Which direction do I look in? Where are the refreshments? Just those really basic things. So they would be my key points.
These are just a few of the many organisations available to help you plan your meeting or event.
So there you have it. For a good, accessible event, don't forget the checklist. Think about things like the accessible toilets, your catering, your proximity to public transport and the timing of the event. And also don't forget someone to meet and greet, the human signpost, people to provide information as people arrive. They're really good things for a good, accessible event. And with all those things taken into account, you will have a very good event. Thank you very much.
Excellent.